West End Baptist Chapel, thank you for joining us as we continue our journey down the Via Dolorosa. Today is day 30, and we pick up in Matthew chapter 12, beginning at verse 38. One day, some teachers of religious law and Pharisees came to Jesus and said, "Teacher, we want you to show us a miraculous sign to prove your authority." But Jesus replied, "Only an evil, adulterous generation would demand a miraculous sign. But the only sign I will give them is the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was in the belly of the great fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so will the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. The people of Nineveh will stand up against this generation on Judgment Day and condemn it, for they repented of their sins at the preaching of Jonah. Now, someone greater than Jonah is here, but you refuse to repent. The Queen of Sheba will also stand up against this generation on Judgment Day and condemn it, for she came from a distant land to hear the wisdom of Solomon. Now someone greater than Solomon is here, but you refuse to listen." Do you have to see before you believe? Does God have to do something for us before you and I walk in obedience? The problem with this mentality is twofold. First, how big a miracle does God have to do? There is always a problem bigger that will need a bigger miracle. If we get one, we will always demand a bigger one. Second, God calls us to walk by faith in His goodness. Action before seeing the miracle. It is not that God is not interested in doing great miracles for us. He wants us to walk in our understanding of Him, walk in our trust in Him. Also, God has put many examples around us to look at. Jonah, Queen of Sheba. If we believe that He is the same God as He was back then for those people, and He will be the same God to us today, then we will have no problem believing in His goodness. We just see a glimpse of His goodness. Today, we need to want to walk by faith in His goodness. The goodness we see in His actions to us in our past and the examples in His Word. There is more than enough there for us to be confident in Him that He will keep every promise He has given to us. It is all about Him and not about us. It is all about Him and His faithfulness to everything He has said. It's about Him. We need to remember that today. Let's continue reading, picking up at verse 43. When an evil spirit leaves a person, it goes into the desert, seeking rest, but finding none. Then it says, "I will return to the person I came from." So it returns and finds its former home empty, swept, and in order. Then the spirit finds 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they all enter the person and live there. And so that person is worse off than before. That will be the experience of this evil generation. Jesus deals with a very important issue here. Many people came to Jesus for healing, for deliverance, but they only wanted healing, not Jesus Himself. They only wanted freedom, not peace with God. So they would receive blessing from Jesus, being set free, but they would immediately go back to doing the things that they wanted to do. Jesus warns us about this. If we choose to let Jesus set us free, but not choose to follow Jesus, the consequences are much worse for us. This is what Jesus promised would happen to that generation of people. They received so much blessing and healing from Jesus, but they were headed for a much worse future. We see people like this in church today. They come because they have terrible problems. The problems can only be solved by Him. They know it, and so they come. However, when He sets them free, suddenly they are never in church again. They only wanted to be free of their problems. They really do not want Him. We need the Father to give us an understanding heart here. We need His help to know that these problems will get worse without Him. We need to keep Him close to us every day. We need Him to keep our lives filled with His Spirit every day. Thank you for joining us, and join us tomorrow as we continue our journey down the Via Dolorosa. God bless.